Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. It is both a privilege and a responsibility to speak on a subject that has not only shaped the course of international politics for over 7 decades, but also speaks to the shared ideals, complex realities, and enduring alliance between two nations, the United States of America and the State of Israel. The relationship between these two countries is one of the most consequential and multifaceted partnerships in modern history. It is a bond marked by shared democratic values, mutual strategic interests, cultural ties, and at times sharp political disagreements. But it is also a story of trust, cooperation, and a shared vision of a more secure and prosperous future. To understand the roots of the U.S.-Israel relationship, we must begin before the founding of the State of Israel in 1948, American interest. In the idea of a Jewish homeland in the Middle East dates back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, fueled in part by religious, cultural, and political motives. Many American Christian leaders, particularly from Protestant denominations, supported the idea of a Jewish return to the Holy Land for theological reasons. Meanwhile, prominent American Jews advocated for a national homeland for their people, especially in the wake of growing anti-Semitism in Europe. American presidents as early as Woodrow Wilson expressed sympathy for the Zionist cause, and in 1917, the United States took note of the British Balfour Declaration, which supported the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. As the horrors of the Holocaust unfolded during World War II, American public opinion increasingly favored the creation of a Jewish state. The genocide of 6 million Jews galvanized moral support, and by the time Israel declared its independence on May 14, 1948, U.S. President Harry S. Truman acted with remarkable speed and conviction. Within just 11 minutes of Israel's declaration, the United States became the first country to officially recognize the new state. Truman's decision was not without controversy. He faced opposition from within his own administration, particularly from the State Department, which feared alienating Arab allies. Yet his moral conviction and belief in self-determination led him to act decisively, establishing the foundation of a historic relationship. The early years of Israel's statehood were marked by struggle and survival. The new nation faced immediate attacks from its Arab neighbors and had to defend its existence in multiple wars, including the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence. During these formative years, American support was somewhat cautious. While the U.S. extended diplomatic recognition and some financial aid, it was not until the late 1950s and 1960s that the relationship began to deepen significantly in terms of military and strategic cooperation. A turning point came with the Six-Day War in 1967. Facing an existential threat from surrounding Arab states, Israel launched a preemptive strike and achieved a stunning military victory, capturing the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Golan Heights. This war not only changed the geopolitical map of the Middle East, but also reshaped U.S.-Israel relations. The American government began to view Israel not just as a small ally in a volatile region, but as a strategic partner that could help counter Soviet influence during the Cold War. It was during this period that U.S. military aid to Israel began to rise significantly, and Israel emerged as a major non-NATO ally. The 1973 Yom Kippur War further solidified this partnership. When Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, the United States responded with a massive airlift of military supplies to support Israeli defense forces. This operation, known as Operation Nickel Grass, underscored America's commitment to Israel's survival. However, it also triggered a backlash from Arab oil-producing nations, leading to the 1973 oil embargo and an energy crisis in the United States. The conflict highlighted the delicate balance the U.S. had to maintain between its strategic alliance with Israel and its relationships with Arab states. Following the Yom Kippur War, the United States assumed a more active role in Middle East diplomacy. Under the leadership of President Jimmy Carter, the U.S. helped broker the historic Camp David Accords in 1978 between Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat. This agreement led to the first peace treaty between Israel and an Arab nation and earned both leaders the Nobel Peace Prize. The Camp David Accords demonstrated the United States' unique position as a mediator and partner in pursuit of peace. From this point on, America's role in Israeli-Arab relations would only grow more prominent. During the 1980s and 1990s, the U.S.-Israel relationship expanded across multiple dimensions. Military aid increased, with the United States providing billions of dollars annually to support Israel's defense needs. Joint military exercises and intelligence sharing became standard practice. The U.S. also supported Israel's development of cutting-edge defense systems such as the Iron Dome, which today is a critical shield against rocket attacks. Meanwhile, cultural, economic, and academic ties between the two nations flourished. America became Israel's largest trading partner, and countless Israeli innovations in technology, medicine, and security made their way into American markets and institutions, yet the relationship was not without its strains. The issue of Israeli settlement expansion in the occupied territories, particularly the West Bank, created friction between American administrations and Israeli governments. U.S. presidents from both parties expressed concerns that settlement activity undermined the prospects for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In 1991, President George H.W. Bush clashed with the Israeli government over loan guarantees tied to settlement activity. In 2011, President Barack Obama openly criticized Israeli settlement policy and called for negotiations based on the 1967 borders with mutually agreed land swaps. These disagreements highlighted the complexities of the alliance, a relationship built on shared values, but also on difficult political realities. Despite these tensions, cooperation remained strong. In 1993, the United States played a pivotal role in facilitating the Oslo Accords, which led to mutual recognition between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. Though the peace process has faced repeated setbacks and violence, the U.S. has continued to promote negotiations and provide humanitarian aid to both Israelis and Palestinians. American presidents have consistently emphasized the goal of a peaceful resolution that ensures Israel's security while recognizing the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people. The 21st century brought new challenges and new dimensions to the U.S.-Israel partnership. In the wake of the September 11th attacks, both nations found common ground in the global fight against terrorism. Israel became an important partner in counterterrorism intelligence and strategy. During the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, U.S. policymakers relied on Israeli expertise in urban warfare, intelligence gathering, and homeland security. Under President George W. Bush, relations with Israel remained warm, especially as the U.S. labeled Iran, Iraq, and North Korea the axis of evil. Israel viewed Iran's nuclear ambitions as a direct existential threat, and successive Israeli governments urged the United States to take a firm stance against Tehran. This issue remained central during the Obama administration, which pursued a controversial nuclear agreement with Iran. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Israel, under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, vehemently opposed the deal, viewing it as insufficient and dangerous. Netanyahu even addressed a joint session of Congress in 2015 to voice his opposition, a move that some viewed as unprecedented and politically charged. This moment marked one of the most publicly tense periods between U.S. and Israeli leaders in recent memory. Though military cooperation between the countries continued unaffected, the arrival of President Donald Trump in 2017 marked a dramatic shift in U.S. policy toward Israel. His administration recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a decision that drew praise from Israeli leaders and supporters but condemnation from Palestinian authorities and much of the international community. Trump also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights and proposed a peace plan dubbed the Deal of the Century, which was heavily tilted in Israel's favor and rejected by Palestinian leaders. Perhaps most notably, Trump's administration brokered the Abraham Accords, normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab states, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. These agreements represented a seismic shift in Middle Eastern diplomacy and suggested new avenues for regional cooperation and stability. With the election of President Joe Biden in 2020, the tone of U.S.-Israel relations shifted once again, though the strategic alliance remained intact. The Biden administration reasserted support for a two-state solution, reinstated aid to the Palestinians, and sought a more balanced approach to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. While expressing unwavering support for Israel's right to self-defense, Biden also called for restraint during periods of conflict, such as the Gaza conflict in 2021. His administration has continued to fund the Iron Dome and promote regional diplomacy, including efforts